Okay, good afternoon, Stephanie. I'm Emily, the JetSetting Fashionista, and I'm here with Stephanie Izard of, prepare yourself, she's got a lot, Girl and the Goat, Little Goat, Duck Duck Goat, Cabra, and her newest one, Sugar Goat. So what is up with all these goats? That is my first question. Where did you come up with the name, the cute name, the goats?
My last name in French, so Izard, but in French it's Izard, and it's a mountain goat that lives in the Pyrenees Mountains. So if you look up Izard mountain goat, you can see it's almost like a goat antelope.
Okay.
But Girl and the Goat-lope, we were like, that didn't have the same ring to it. So Girl and the Goat, it was just a fun thing like from years ago.
Yeah. I should know that because I've been to all of her Chicago restaurants. Those of you know I grew up in Chicago and we have that in common. Where were you born? Tell the
I
viewers.
was born in Evanston
Yep.
and lived there. We moved to the East Coast on my first birthday, so my dad moved to New York for work. We grew up in Connecticut. Then I went to University of Michigan, Scottsdale, Arizona for culinary school, back to Chicago for 20 years, and then just relocated to LA. I still go to Chicago all the time, of course, because I have all my restaurants, but
yes.
It's fun. I get to be like dual city.
I know, breaking news, I thought she was still in Chicago. I sort of have to prepare myself because I've been, I still remember when you opened Duck Duck Goat, and I went like the first time I was home with my girlfriends, and her restaurants are always like the hottest spots in town. I have your cookbook on my shelf.
Oh, awesome.
So this is a bit of a girl chef crush. I'm just gonna come out and say that. So we are at Healdsburg Wine and Food Experience. We are in the beautiful cellar of the Matheson Healdsburg, my friend Dustin's restaurant. So what a treat to get to connect my Chicago and LA pal in Healdsburg.
Perfect.
Good. So speaking of ducks and duck, goats, those that have not dined at your restaurants, what would you say? How would you describe the restaurants to them?
It's always so hard to like put things into words, but what we're always going for is that when you walk in, you feel very welcome. They're very sort of bustling and vibrant and fun. And I think whenever I have friends that go to the restaurant or I meet people that have been, instead of saying how was the food, because I'm hoping I do want to ask that and I do want to know, but I don't ask that. But I just say, did you have fun? Because that's what we want. We want them to have a good experience. I think we really focus on making sure that our team is happy, and we try to have like an amazing team. And if the team's happy and they're walking around smiling and laughing and all of those things, it's going to just filter to the guests. So that's sort of our goal.
So I was reading up on you, and I was reading a lot of interviews this morning and talking about kitchen culture. So I'm going to guess you're not one of those screaming chefs.
No, I actually worked for one. I won't say his name, but I worked for one when I lived in Arizona after culinary school. Worked for one amazing chef and then one that was a screamer. And I said to myself after that job, I was like, I would never scream at anyone. I think you can count on one hand like the number of times I've raised my voice in the kitchen in the last like 12 years.
Wow.
It's just not what you should do. It's like people are working as hard as they can, and if someone's not, it's your job as the manager to get them to do better, to encourage them and work with them. So we try our best to have that type of culture, a teaching culture and a fun culture, and it's going pretty well.
Yeah, it seems to be going really well, judging by the success in all of your restaurants and the ones I've eaten at. I guess I have to come to LA to visit your
Yes, it's fun.
Yeah. So it feels like you can't be interviewed without talking about Iron Chef. So what was that like? You were the first female chef to win. Like, just tell me everything.
Yeah, I mean, so there's Top Chef was one, and then Iron Chef like years later. So Top Chef first female in, I was like almost 30 years old when I did it. Now I'm 46, so a really long time ago.
You look very young for 46. Oh my
thank
goodness.
You. Thank you.
What's the trick? Kids and cooking?
Yeah, just being so busy that you don't have time to age too much. I have no idea. You would think that I would look like more aged. I don't know. But that was amazing. It was one of my most amazing experiences, and I think that at the time I didn't want to, attribute everything that was going on to Top Chef. And now over the years, now that I get to go back and judge sometimes. I was just on an episode this week, and I have like such an appreciation for that show and what it's done for me and the opportunities it's presented. And you can kind of take it. You can take it any way that you want. You can either focus on doing restaurants. You can focus on just doing sponsorship things, or I tried to do a combination of both. But it's amazing, and the show's about to have its 20th season. Crazy.
I think I need to start watching it. I'm gonna be honest. I am immersed in food and wine as my job, as my hobby, my passion. So when I get home, I'm like CSI detective. I don't watch cooking shows, but I probably should. But I think it's really awesome for people that don't get to have that accessibility that people like me do, going to all these festivals to have these chefs come to their home and learn tips and tricks, and just like it sort of makes all of you guys celebrity chefs like more reachable to the average chef at home.
Yeah, I think that over the years, Top Chef, they're going in there, it's been 16, 17 years since it started. Between that and the Food Network and all of that, I feel like people just in general talk about food more. So it's, whether it's shows that you love or maybe there's some that aren't your favorite, like it's getting people to talk about food more, to immerse themselves in the culture of restaurants more, have a better appreciation for chefs. And I think it's amazing. I love just like walking through the airport and you hear people just talking about food, and I'm like, this is great. Everyone's talking about food. I always want to talk about food.
Well, and let's talk, I mean, airport restaurant scene, my God, especially at O'Hare. So you were there 20 years, and I grew up in Chicago. I gotta say, I love, I mean, I don't like delays at O'Hare, which are inevitable in the winter, but I mean, the airport food has really gotten stepped up a notch. And San Francisco airport, we have all these like local restaurants. It's so cool.
It is cool. Yeah, I usually go to Rick Bayless's Frontier.
Yeah, I do too, in the American Terminal.
Yep.
Right before the Starbucks.
Yep. The other day I decided to have a margarita, and I was like listening to some music, and I was kind of dancing around the airport. I was like, well, this is super fun.
Yeah.
I don't usually do this.
Yeah. So I'd love to ask this question. Can you talk about who's been the biggest mentor in your career?
You know, and I think that question comes up a lot, and I always think about now being the one that is mentoring people that work with me. I didn't have one. I had like so many, and like little things that I pulled from different people. I think it's so important as a chef or a cook that's coming up to pick chefs to work for that you want to learn from, not just pick like one for the most money. And it's the culture's a little different these days, where you know kids might not be doing it the same way. But pick someone you want to learn from, so you can get stuff from different people. So I had Bo McMillan was one of my chefs, and Scott Stowe, who's one of my mentors. He like taught me so much and gave me so many opportunities in his kitchen. Sean McLean in Chicago was amazing. I worked for him for a number of years. So just pulling from that, and then also growing up, you know, watching some different chefs on TV. You know, like that was kind of like my young inspiration.
Who knew you'd be on TV and people be watching you?
How funny, how funny. And my mom, she was an amazing cook. So I had a chef said to me once, he's like, chefs either had a mom that was an amazing cook or a mom that was a terrible cook, so they had to fend for themselves, and that's how they got into cooking. My mom was an amazing cook, and so it was like part of our family all growing up.
Okay, I have two more questions because I know we're tight on time. You're a busy gal and you have an event this afternoon. So, what is your favorite spot in Chicago that is not your restaurant? I mean, maybe you're not going to tell us, so maybe tell us your second favorite because you don't want us all going there and hoping to see you.
I will say Rosemary. So Joe Flam, he won Top Chef also.
Okay.
But he used to work for us at Girl Knew It. He was one of my cooks.
Okay.
Moved up to sous chef. Ended up going and working for some other amazing chefs. Going on Top Chef, opening his own restaurant about a year and a half ago.
Good. Rosemary. I'm going to have to go check it out. I've never been.
It's awesome.
Awesome. I'm heading to Chicago in August. I have a belated birthday dinner at Alinea.
Oh, nice.
Thanks, Dad. So yeah, maybe we'll do Alinea one day, Rosemary the next.
Yeah, totally different experiences, and it's like it's fun to go to Chicago and go to restaurants that have such different vibes, and you know, both amazing food in totally different ways.
Okay, the last question. This is not food related. Are you a Cubs or a Sox fan?
Cubs.
Yes, me too. Chicago fans, you'll respect and appreciate that. Well, perfect. Thank you so much for sitting down. I know it's a crazy day. I appreciate your time. This is literally, I met Stephanie 6 or 7 years ago at Pebble Beach Food and Wine. Total girl crush. We talked about Winnetka, Wilmette. So this is, when I saw you were a lineup for this was my dream to get to meet you and sit down again.
Thank you. Thanks for chatting. So fun.
Of course.
It's nice to take a little break from work.
Yeah. Okay, cheers. Well, thank you.
Cheers.